Alright, I'm here with a brand new pickup video, kind of going over the stuff that I have grabbed over a pretty long field of span of about 3 weeks or so. Kind of all over the place. These were all filmed in segments for the most part after they were done, so it's kind of maybe a little bit choppy and everything, but hopefully it goes together nicely because I got some pretty neat stuff. I'll start out with my new releases like I always do and just kind of highlight them. I picked up ARMS for the Switch, which I have I've had a lot of fun with it, playing with friends and everything. It is a good time. If you're looking for something fun on the Switch, I definitely recommend picking up ARMS. It's a fun game. I also, on sale at GameStop, they had Resident Evil 7 brand new for $35. So I decided to bite and grabbed that. Played a little bit of it. Pretty cool so far. It has a cool atmosphere and everything. So I'll hop in to play more of that soon. But yeah, I don't know how long that goes till, but I thought $35 was a pretty fair price. I kind of missed it when it first came out, because it came out on that day where, like, that came out as well as Tales of Berseria and Yakuza 0, and then, like, Kingdom Hearts 2.8, whatever, who cares. So I picked up Yakuza 0 that day, because I'm a bigger Yakuza fan. And so I kind of missed this and was just kind of waiting for it to go down in price, but I got to grab it for a good price there, so I'm happy with that. This next little segment here is from around the weekend, I think it was June 17th, that weekend. It was the weekend before I left to go to Too Many Games, which if you did not check out my pickup video for that, that is on my channel. It's my last video before this one. Unfortunately, when I got this pickup, I filmed its segment. As I often do during the summer, I film my pickup videos in segments for the day and kind of, you know, collide them together for one big pickup video. It allows me to organize my stuff and not have a huge pile of stuff sitting around in the middle of my somewhat small game room. I can put it away, or I can sell it or get rid of it. So I often just do it in segments. Unfortunately, this segment got lost, and I got rid of a lot of the stuff from this lot, so I'll have to just retell it. So what had happened is I went to a couple garage sales that day. One of them, I went and I got a box of stuff for pretty cheap. It was just someone's estate sale, basically. I guess this person had died and they were just pulling all of his stuff out of the house, selling it. And I got a box, and it had a it had a bunch of Wii remotes in it, a couple Wii remotes in it, as well as, I was just kind of throwing stuff in the box that I saw that was game-related that I wanted, and then I took it up and I asked her how much she would want for it. So in the box was two PlayStation 1s, one that did not work, one that did, I learned, as well as some Wii remotes, a full, like the outer box for Wii Play that had the Wii remote in it, and Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii, and I believe that's it. A copy of Call of Duty for the Wii as well, which I didn't even realize it was in there until I got back. The one catch with this stuff is that it smelled so bad of smoke. It was the worst smelling stuff. I've got a lot of stuff over the years that has smelled like nicotine, like smoke, like it was owned by a smoker. And but I mean, no disrespect to this guy who died. He had to have died of lung cancer. This stuff smelled so bad of smoke, it smelled up the whole car as I went home. You know how I usually deal with that is that I put the stuff in a box with dryer sheets, and that usually takes the smell away after probably 2-3 weeks. This stuff's probably going to need more time with that. So unfortunately, I had to actually throw some of the stuff away. The Wii Play box, outer box that I got, was stained yellow with nicotine, and it smelled awful. So I mean, that was not even salvageable, unfortunately. The Monster Hunter Tri, that case and everything, I had to throw the case away. The artwork and everything was fine, and the manual and the disc was fine, but it's in a box with stuff, so I'm not going to show that right now and take that out. PlayStation 2's actually cleaned up pretty well, and those did not smell bad, so I found something to do with both of those, the broken and the non-broken one. So, you know, overall, I took the box up, and the lady only wanted $10 for everything, so I paid the $10. Don't regret the deal at all. Everything went fine. Everything was good. Everything was cool. I wanted to get Monster Hunter Tri for the Wii, and the other stuff I got rid of and, you know, got my money back. So, works out in the end. And the next sale I went to that day that grabbed stuff that I asked, and it, I saw they had a gaming chair out. like, you know, those rocking gaming chairs you put in. And I asked if they had any video game stuff, and named off a couple names, and the light bulb went off when I said Sega. And she said, hey, do you still have that Sega that you want to sell that? And the guy had a Sega. He took us back, and he had a back room in his garage that he just started digging through. There was a Sega Genesis in the box, the Model 2 in the box. The box was pretty rough, and I already had that model box, so I'll have to figure out something to do. Or no, I didn't have that version box, so I'm going to keep that box, even though it's a little rough. But it had that, and then he pulls out a huge box of games. Most of them in the box, some of them not. And this is where it's really unfortunate that I don't have the stuff with me, because there was some cool stuff in there, and my original take of this video was much more interesting than it's going to be now, unfortunately, because most of the stuff went to the exchange because it was about 25 just sports games that I don't care about, and I was leaving for too many games, and I knew I was going to be stopping at some exchanges, so I just wanted trade credit. And if you watch my Too Many Games Pickup video, I stopped at exchanges and got quite a bit there. So it turned out all right. But I don't have any of those sports games anymore. But as well, I got... there was a copy of Metal Gear Solid 1 in there. I wish I wouldn't have lost that video. I accidentally deleted it from my camera roll. There was a copy of Metal Gear Solid 1 in there. And what I saw on top that I was most intrigued by was a copy of Mutant League Football, which was pretty cool to see. And then I get home, and there was actually a second cart-only copy of Mutant League Football alongside the box copy of Mutant League Football. And I already had a really nice condition box for Mutant League Football, so I kept the cartridge, the nicer cartridge, they were both kind of rough, and put it in my box, as well as I kept, you know, I sold off the extra copy in their box that wasn't quite as nice, with the less good cartridge. I know someone's going to tell me I'm full of crap because I'm not actually showing this stuff. My basement, my game room is under renovation, so a lot of my stuff is in storage, including the stuff I don't play the most. So most of my Genesis stuff is put away, and it's deep within storage, and I don't want to get it out. Also within there was, you know, Sonic 1 and 2, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, I believe. I'm not a big Mortal Kombat fan, but that was in there. And the coolest game that was in there was a cart-only copy of Streets of Rage 3, which I was excited to get because I really liked Streets of Rage 2. It's a real fun game. And Streets of Rage 3, I played it for a little while, and it was good fun. So, yeah, it was a cool Sega lot. Everything I got for $50, which, alright. The Genesis, unfortunately, did not work. But I had to get rid of that just as broken, which is, you know, not great, but it's alright, I guess. That's not what I was buying it for. I got to keep the box, and I got to keep some pretty high-priced games, especially, you know, Mutant League Football is not super high, but a card-only Streets of Rage 3 isn't bad. I was hoping the box would be in there, but oh well. Yeah, so it was a good lot. I got some decent trade credit for taking them, like 25 in-box sports games. So it worked out for me. Once again, I do apologize, though, that video was deleted. Some guy in the comments is going to be like, well, this is fake because you didn't show it. And it's like, sorry, dude, I really can't show it because it's all either put away in storage or it's gone now. Like, the system itself is gone. The games are gone. Most of the sports games are gone, and everything else is in storage. So, sorry about that. But it was a good find overall. Pretty good, pretty solid day, and it proves that you gotta ask. This is my pickups for June 29th, Thursday, for the garage sales. Not a bad little find here. It started where the night before I saw on Craigslist a listing that had, they put electronics, and then they put after that Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. So I was kind of like, I don't know. I mean, I still try to do my best to go to sales that have video games listed on the Craigslist ad, especially Nintendo stuff, but most of the time there's a bunch of people there, and it just ends up being a nightmare. Most of the time, someone tried, you know, buying it the night before, knocking on their door at like 6 a.m. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The amount of garbage that goes around in this area for garage sales, it's ugh. So I kind of cringed for those people, and I cringed for myself, but I thought, you know, I'll still check it out. So the sale said it started at 9. I showed up about quarter after 8, which I hate doing. I absolutely hate doing. I will sit out in my car, kind of in you know, parked in my car until I see them come out and start to set up. I won't knock on people's door. That's scummy. That's not cool. So I'm not going to do that. But luckily, I drove up there and I just saw them setting up immediately when I got out there. So I just walked up and said, "Hey, I'm sorry I'm early. I was just, you know, I'm only here. I know you're still setting up. I'm only here for the video game stuff I saw you had on Craigslist. I figured. So, I mean, I don't want to look through your stuff or anything." And it was right in the back. They showed me to it. And unfortunately, the Super Nintendo they said they had listing, they were going to sell to a friend, I think. I think that was the situation. There was someone they knew wanted it, so it was not for sale, which is unfortunate. They had, I think, $20 on the Super Nintendo, and it had Mario Paint stuff with it, but nothing I'm losing sleep over, but kind of unfortunate because I would have grabbed that. But I did get the 64 stuff, which wasn't a whole lot, but it was neat. I got a system box here. Not in the best shape, a little rough, but not too bad. A little torn at the top, but not too bad. No styrofoam or anything, none of the insides. It came with it the system as well. Just the regular old black system. Here, just the regular old gray system. The system had all the, you know, cables and everything, which is good to see, but I always have extras. Came with some controllers, 2 of them here. One first party black controller, and then this weird Super Pad 64 controller, which is it's a nightmare basically. This thing is horrible. This thing is kind of fun, but it's absolutely atrocious. And not even the feel itself. The feel itself is actually probably nicer than a regular 64 controller, but the buttons feel like crap. But it's still kind of fun to see this weird controller. And then it had a copy of Mario Kart, which is always awesome to see. But not only that, at the bottom of the box, it also had the box for Mario Kart, which is cool to see. I'll need to slide an insert into that. I'll probably flatten this box before I sell it because it's a little crushed. But it's not in awful shape. There's a couple rips on it. It's player's choice, but you know, I can sell it and everything like that. And in the box, I didn't realize this till I got home. I felt the box was heavy, so I knew there was stuff in it. But in the box, there was a bunch of manuals and stuff. So there's the Mario Kart manual, a Super Nintendo System manual, the Mario Paint manual, Donkey Kong Country manual, and Super NES Mouse manual, as well as, you know, booklets and posters and stuff that would come with things, the consumer information, you know, Nintendo Power things, player's guide offers, all that stuff that comes in the box. So cool. That was not bad. That was all for $30 at that sale, which I thought was perfectly fair, especially since I showed up way earlier at the sale, which is funny because I think the guy who showed up after, there's a guy that kind of showed up and then left once he saw that I was getting this stuff, and I'm pretty sure it was this guy that I encountered earlier in the season that got to a 64 lot that was advertised on Craigslist at a garage sale about 30 seconds before I did, and then like lowballed the people, and it was about a half hour before the sale even properly started, and he lowballed the people, and so I guess I'm glad I got this one, but it was kind of funny to see that because I'm like, finally, did I get my revenge? I also picked up some NES controllers for $2. That one was $2. This one was also $2. And then I found this one. I've never seen one of these before. I'm not claiming it. That might not mean anything because I'm not a gigantic expert at NES, but I've never seen one of these controllers. The Zipper NES controller, it's missing a select button, which is unfortunate. But I've never seen one of these before, so someone will have to tell me all about this. They only wanted a quarter for it, so I just grabbed it. It is the Bishu Zipper controller. So someone tell me about this in the comments if it's anything cool or anything. I've never seen it before. I thought it was kind of neat. It doesn't feel like a bad controller, honestly. It feels like a halfway decent controller, and it has turbo buttons and everything, or turbo sliders on it and everything. So it didn't seem like it was... I mean, it definitely seemed worth a quarter. I didn't notice it was missing the select button until I got home, but, you know, figured I'd pick it up. Kind of neat. Now here for my pickups of June the 30th, Friday. I got another one sale wonder for the day, but it was a pretty alright one. I got to the first, it was another, first sale I stopped at had this sitting out for $25, a DSi XL in the box and everything, which is weird. This was pre-owned at GameStop at one point, but they somehow kept the box. Because, I mean, nowadays GameStop throws away anything and everything, basically. Any system box, even my local GameStop throws away any pre-owned 3DS cases, which is ridiculous to me. I don't know. But it's crazy to see that they kept the box. This was marked at $25, it had the system, and this thing's like immaculate, this DSi XL. Did I say 3DS earlier? It's DSi XL. This thing's like immaculate. The screen's like perfect. Definitely going to be keeping this because I've been looking for a good priced DSi XL forever. Because I'm a huge fan of the DS, but back in the day I bought, when I switched over, I had a DS Lite and then I bought a DSi. And then like a year later the DSi XL came out. I'm like, oh crap, come on. But yeah, I never got a DSi XL. I don't see them very often, and when I do, they're often overpriced. Or they're bundled with a ton of games and like $80, and it's like, no, I don't want that. So I was glad to grab one at a good price, especially in such great condition. Definitely going to be keeping that and playing all my DS games on there, because I think it looks better on an original DS than a 3DS. I think those games get a little stretched out and look a little weird. But so super happy to grab that and get that in the collection, and also to be able to use it and play it. Also at that sale, I asked, as I was kind of paying him for this stuff, I asked him if he had any other game stuff, and I listed off some things, and he said, oh, well, I got the steering wheel for an old system. I think it's a Sega. And I'm like, ooh, and it wasn't a Sega, but it was the steering wheel, which I'm not going to bother showing. It's huge, and it has a stupid foot pedal and everything for like racing games. I just threw it in a box and gonna probably just give it away to the Goodwill because I don't want to deal with it. But there was also a system in there in some games. This stuff was filthy. I took a little time cleaning it up. But there was a PS1, so not a Sega. It would have been nice if it would have been a Saturn or a Dreamcast with some stuff, but just a PS1. Pretty nice shape once I cleaned it up, and it worked. I tested it, and it worked and everything. The games that were in there, I'll go through them. The two ones that I'm going to keep are Activision Classics. A collection of Activision Classic games for the Atari 2600. Includes 30 games. Luckily, they shortened that up on the spine. And also Atari Anniversary Edition Redux. I'll be keeping those ones. The games that I don't really care about were, there was a copy of Gran Turismo 2, which I don't have with me here. NASCAR 98. Let me put these down. Kart World Series. World Cup 98. Madden 99. And Test Drive 4. Everything was in pretty nice shape. But those will just be going in my exchange box to get some trade credit. Don't care about keeping PS1, filler PS1 games like that. But it also came with 3 controllers, 2 of the ones without the sticks, and then a DualShock. So that's a pretty fair deal and all. Paid $35 for everything. Walked away pretty happy. As I went along that day, I went to a sale later that I asked about games, and she said, oh, because she had a Wii Guitar Hero out. And she said, oh, I have a GameCube and some stuff. Let me go in and get that. My son said he wanted to sell it, but he didn't. And I forgot to bring it out. So she brings it out with a stack of some good games in there, some crap games in there. It's a mix. I had the Game Boy player on the bottom with the disc and everything, as well as some Game Boy Advance games, and then 2 PS1 games for some reason. And I was like, do you have any idea what you would want for this stuff? Because, I mean, this was a good lot that I'd be willing to pay for. She said, oh, I have no idea. And I kind of gave her a few offers that were lower than I would have actually offered, but I didn't have much cash on me at the time. And she said, oh, I don't know what my son wants to sell it for. Why don't you take your name and number, and I'll call you when my son gets home from work. He works about in an area that's about, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes away from that area until 5. So I'm like, okay, I kind of resigned myself at that point that I'm probably not going to get this stuff. If I do, it'll be right after this segment. I'll be like, hey guys, this is great, I got that stuff. But doesn't look like I'm going to get that stuff, which is a shame. There was some good stuff in there. There was a copy of Melee in there, which I'm looking for. I don't have a complete copy of Melee. I have a Player's Choice copy without the manual, but I never find Melee, which is crazy to me. I don't know. I never find Smash 64 either, but hopefully I can get that stuff. I'll keep you updated, obviously, but it's not looking good for me. I might try to stop over at that sale again tomorrow, but it's not looking too good for me. Hey guys, this is great. I got that stuff. Well, maybe not as great as I would have liked it to be. I told the story and everything. This is going right after I told the story of almost missing out on the GameCube stuff. I actually stayed in contact with the lady from the sale for a while, and I finally picked this stuff up, what was this, July 9th or something? So it took a long time and everything. But I got this stuff. Unfortunately, it was not the best deal. It was still a good deal. I'll go into why. But it was not the best deal. The GameCube games that I hoped to buy with the lot, the kid wanted to keep. So the whole stack of GameCube games I did not end up getting, and there was Smash Brothers Melee, Mario Sunshine, Metroid Prime 1 and 2. There's some good titles in there, so that was unfortunate. He wanted to keep them. I guess he has a Wii to play them on or something. I don't know. But that kind of was unfortunate, but I got some other stuff still. I got the GameCube, which the reason I bought it is because it had the Game Boy player on the bottom, which is always good to find, and had the startup disc in the case and everything. Didn't have the slipcover over it, but GameCube and the Game Boy player with the startup disc is always a good thing to find. And then it came with some Game Boy games, Game Boy Advance games. These all had their manuals with them, but they are nothing exciting. Not your cool Game Boy Advance games, just kind of Game Boy Advance games that exist. These are going to probably all go to the exchange, because the two that I would keep I already have. So there's Harry Potter, something, I don't care. Prehistoric Man, it's by Titus here, so that's probably a gem. And then the two that I already had, Namco Museum, which I find, pretty much anytime I find Game Boy Advance stuff, I find Namco Museum. And I find this one a lot too, Frogger's Adventure. And they all had their manuals and everything, but, so it's not too awful. Also, there was, for some reason, a PS1 copy of Spin Jam. I asked if they had any more PS1 games, and he does not. They do, but he doesn't want to get rid of them. So I paid $40 for everything, which isn't great. I originally offered $40 for the full lot, and then her son wanted to keep all the games, so it was kind of like, well, I'm stuck with. But I'm still stuck with the price of $40 with her, so couldn't really change the price or anything. But not a bad lot. I mean, I'll sell the GameCube with the player disc and make my money back, and it's all good. Also, moving into now the most recent weekends of garage sailing, I picked up a few minor things. One sale, I got a PS2 Fat, all the hookups and everything, and 2 off-brand controllers. And 3 games for $20. Here are the games here, nothing interesting. Tekken 4, Lego Star Wars, and the SpongeBob movie. I'm just going to put those in my exchange box and get some trade credit and flip the PS2. As well, that same day, I got a copy of Smash Brothers Brawl, technically for free, because I went up to the sale and went to buy it for, she had $3 on it. And she didn't have any change to give me, so she said, you know what, just take it. And I thought, oh, okay. So that was nice. But yeah, that's it for pickups right now. Kind of a real spread out. I honestly don't know how much is in this video, because it was filmed over the course of 3 weeks in segments. So I'm not quite sure everything in this video, but I'll find out soon enough in the editing process. Might be a longer one, I don't know. But I'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter, both at Objo Gaming. And make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, to leave a comment down below with what you've picked up lately, and I will see you next time.